Welcome to Horse Sense Radio. I'm your host, Christine Rolando, and we are here today with two very, very exciting guests. But before I introduce them, I want to tell you what Horse Sense Radio is all about. So we used to be live on live radio, and then this crazy thing happened to our whole world called COVID, and things had to change for many of us, as you know. So we had to figure out how we could still bring the show to you, and just with a little brainstorming and technology, we've now moved to a podcast called Horse Sense Radio. So you can find that any of the shows on equineappraiser.net. That's how you find the recordings, this recording that we're doing today. And you also can go on iTunes or any of those Spreaker, Spotify. So you can also, if you type in Horse Sense Radio Christine Rolando, the shows will come up and you can listen to any of the past shows as well as the show that we're doing today. So again, I'm very, very excited because this show features people that have a passion for their work and people that change the world. You know, it's all about us, I think, pausing, especially after COVID, pausing to really reflect and know how we make a difference in the world. But my guest today, she didn't wait till COVID. She got started a long time ago with a passion that she had, and I'm excited to have her today. My special guest is award-winning international fashion designer, Aya Faraoni. Hi, Aya. How are you today? I'm glad you're with us.
Hi, Christine. Good morning. Good morning. I'm so glad to be in your show. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Well, I have to say that you're best known in my community as Aya, probably one of the sweetest people that you'd ever want to run into, and you'd never know because that she's world renowned, best known as a prolific force behind Aya Threads. This is a brand known mainly for their exotic stylists, and I love eco-friendly handbags. And you're going to have to pronounce this French word. I've been trying to learn French, but I'm not very good at it, but I am practicing. How do you say minaudière? How do you say?
Yes, you said it so right. It's minaudière. It's basically called a small bag or a clutch in French.
In French. So minaudière, a small bag or a clutch. So today my special guest is Aya Faraoni from Warwick, New York. And we have her to talk about some really exciting things that she's doing here in our community. And as I said earlier, I love to have guests on Aya that make a difference in the world. And you are doing that very thing, way beyond just the US. It's really something that's taking place throughout the world with your passion and your design that you're known for. But you've brought along somebody today who's going to share her story. And this is Grace is with us also. Grace Lanamit. How do you pronounce your name? Lamattina? How do you say?
Lamattina.
Lamattina. Okay. So Grace is with us also today. And we're going to hear about that story in a moment. But before we go into the gist of what's going on, the excitement of you two coming together, I shared with you earlier when we were just chatting before the call. Do either one of you know much about horses or have any experience with horses? What about you, Aya? You collect something, don't you? Can you share that with our listeners?
Yes, I actually collect horses pendants. I love horses, just the way it makes me calm when I see it. And since I was a little girl back in the province in the Philippines, when I see horses, we would actually run after it when someone passed by because they use it. They just would ride it on the road back in our province a long time ago, and it would just take me into this different world of imagination watching them run. And so I started collecting any horses figurines and horses pendants, and about now I have more than 25 pendants, and I can't count how many figurines I have.
So are these pendants that you wear as a necklace or on your chest or on like a lapel, or are they all a variety of those things?
There are a variety. Some of them are pins too, but mostly on my necklace. One of my headshot actually that I use for my events I wear a big horse. There's three horses on a round pendant in my necklace, and I use that picture everywhere for my headshot.
Maybe one day you'll do an Aya Threads handbag with a horse on it. What do you think?
Ooh, that's a great idea. That's a great idea.
Uh-oh, we just planted a vision and a seed. So, but you grew up actually, let's tell our listeners, you're the mother of two boys. You currently live in Warwick, and you are definitely a philanthropist, and you were raised in the Philippines. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about that and maybe even that experience of chasing after the horses? How old were you at that time?
Oh, I think I was about 7 to 12 years old. It was such a different time. I mean, even now, the Philippines is still, such a different, like a different world. It's so remote where I grew up, and even just, I didn't even thought that someday I'm gonna come to America and live here. We didn't have much, much things else to do, but just to get the things that were around us. We make toys out of the twigs that we find around the area, and that's how we grew up. Um, so yeah, I've always like you, as you know, I also give back to donate as much as I can for the bags for your events with the horse races. Um, because horses have a really important space in my heart. So yeah.
Well, that really blesses my heart because I think that's how you and I met. We were doing a fundraiser for the SOAR Women's Conference for we were basically raising money for mental health and brain injury. And I believe my co-host on the radio, Kristen, had met you or reached out. And you came on the show and we had you on live, and that was exciting because you actually brought some of the bags. And for our listeners that don't know, these are the most beautiful, beautiful handbags. They're not only stylish, exotic, and like I said earlier, eco-friendly, but they're beautiful and you would just want to wear them out anywhere that you would go. The colors are just magnificent as well in the handbags and so fashionable. But let's back up again. So you grew up in the Philippines. When did you get your first inspiration to know that you wanted to do something in the fashion world, and where did you get your education?
Oh, since I was little, I've helped my dad in our fashion store, and he would bring me to different places to sell clothing and handbags and shoes. And since then, I said to myself, this is what I want to do. This is what I love to do. And growing up in the Philippines, I see all the hardship that people go through. So I wanted to make a difference in people's lives there, give them something like a livelihood program. So that's what really inspired me to start this company, because these handbags in Menudier are hand woven and gives livelihood program to women and family in the Philippines. So we teach them how to hand weave it using the sustainable materials from there, which is the eco-friendly buri tree fibers. So we teach them how to weave it, and then it becomes their livelihood. It gives them income, and part of our profits from the business goes back to the children from there. So my son, Ira, and Errol started a foundation called Ira's Helping Hands and Errol's Helping Meals. So from the profit, we give backpacks, school supplies, and footwear, and also feeding program for undernourished children there. So in a way, it wasn't really just to do fashion. It was to make a difference in people's lives, and also to lead that revolutionary change for people and for planet, to give everyone that knowledge that they can do something, they can make a difference for the world using sustainable fashion while benefiting the communities that you work with.
You know, I think this is a true example of a father passing on a passion and a gift to a daughter, which I've had that same
Yes.
experience. My dad passing on his love for horses to me. But your dad,
Mhm.
enlightened you, shared that opportunity with you. And there you were in the Philippines. And now look how your company has grown and is truly changing the world. I mean, our listeners don't know, and that's why I want to share even more so. You're not only the co-founder, but you're really well respected and acknowledged in the international fashion world. I mean, this is big stuff. I was telling my son last night, I shared your bio with my son. He's working on an art grant right now. And I said, look at
Oh,
this. And he's,
wow.
yeah. And I said, look at this. This is somebody that lives locally and she took a passion that she had, but more so, it's not about you and it's always about others. When I look you in the eye or I see you out in the community, I always know that you're out there too. It's not about Aya, it's about others. And that's why we have your very special guest with us today. We have Grace with us today. So, Grace, I want to kind of shift gears a little bit and I want to go back to letting our listeners know your story and how you wound up here today. I think you were invited or you did a fifth grade class presentation on Career Day. But before we get to that, if you wouldn't mind, how old are you now and what grade are you in? And tell me your horse
I
story.
I am 10 years old. I'm going into sixth grade. I'm actually turning 11 tomorrow.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Thank you. And I just grew up in the same exact house I am right now, and there's a horse farm down the road. I love going on walks with my mom, and I always like passed the horses. And then one day I asked my mom if I can do horseback riding. So ever since I was little, I just really loved horses and I loved riding them. So it was just really fun.
Did your mom say yes and you went for the riding lesson?
Yeah.
I like your mom already. I can't wait to see her in the grocery store and thank her. Good for you. So you've had some experience with horses, and who knows, as you pursue your life, maybe that's something you'll do with your family one day as you grow older. But I let's hear how you two connected. So this is in fifth grade class, career day. Who wants to jump in?
Um, I guess I will.
Go
So
for it.
we were doing a career day thing, and we had to write about something like what you want to do as a job, and you have to write about someone that inspired you. So I to be a fashion designer, and the person that inspired me was Aya, because I love her brand. I love her, and they're all really beautiful.
Have you ever seen Aya on the TV fashion shows or the international publications, including Vogue? Those are big things, right? Those are big places. So we're talking to somebody that is really well respected in this world. So you picked a key person, and I can tell already. I haven't met you yet, but you're not intimidated by anything, are you, Grace?
Nope.
And tomorrow's your birthday. So again, what a beautiful birthday gift to join us today on the show. All right. So
Yeah.
what was your presentation like? You had to do a slideshow?
Yeah, so we had to like create a slideshow about like what we want to be in our future like job and like who inspired us. So like as I told you before, I wrote about Aya, and I think it went really well.
Did you get a grade on that? Did the teachers grade you on that, or was that something that wasn't graded?
Yeah, we got graded on that
How'd you do? I bet you did great.
out of 100.
Oh, I knew it.
Oh, wow.
Aya, did you have to be there for this as well?
No,
Mm.
I just heard about it, and I'm so glad that I heard about it because that were that really inspired me to also to do more about it in the fashion world to inspire more children. Back then, I remember about 3 years ago, right before COVID hit, I gathered some of girls that are in my son's school to teach them designing and have them help me make a dress for my fashion show in New York Fashion Week, which was worn by one of the Miss International here in the United States, and it inspired them. And this is like one thing that also Grace was inspired